Alright, YouTube, we are back talking some FF7. We're talking that remake, of course. We're hyping up another event for September. Yet another one, of course. Another one. Is that still a thing? I don't know. Anyways, MCM London Comic Con is coming up here relatively soon, like about a week. And it was announced today that Naoki Hamaguchi is going to be a part of that. So they dropped this tweet earlier. Final Fantasy VII Remake Echoes of Midgar, main stage, Friday, 24th of October, 2:15 p.m. Included in tickets. See reservation opens September 24th. And of course, the image has our squad on it: Naoki Hamaguchi, John Eric Bentley, Britt Baron, Briana White. Final Fantasy VII Remake Echoes of Midgar. The session features an intimate discussion with Final Fantasy VII Remake series director, as well as the brilliant voices behind iconic characters Barret, Tifa, and Aerith. Also, Hamaguchi dropped a tweet earlier as well and says, "I'm excited to announce that I'll be attending MCM Comic Con. Looking forward to spending some fun and memorable time with the community. Hope to see you there." Here's the thing. I don't know what this event is supposed to be. We don't really have like a description of it too much, other than that image saying that it's an intimate discussion with the director and some of the voice actors, right? It is called Echoes of Midgar, Final Fantasy VII Remake Echoes of Midgar, so maybe it's specifically a discussion about the first game. But what I'll say is that there is something a little bit strange or weird about the event. And I say that because it seems like it was a surprise that Hamaguchi's a part of it. Because Briana White also quote tweeted the announcement and seemed surprised. She said, "What? Hamaguchi, I'm so glad we'll be seeing you in London. FF7R fans, if you weren't planning to come to MCM London, surely you are now," with a winky face. And not even a week ago, she was hyping up the event for her, John, and Britt for at least photo ops and autographs and things like that. So I'm not entirely sure with her tweet if she's, just playing her part, like acting surprised, like, oh my god, Hamaguchi, who knew, right? I assume she was aware that she was going to be a part of a stage presentation for, FF7 Remake Echoes of Midgar. So I assume that aspect of it's not a surprise, but maybe Hamaguchi being a part of it isn't. I don't know. But also she's never, at least I can see on the feed, ever tweeted about the event till today. So I don't know what's going on exactly. Also, it's a little bit strange to make this announcement just a week ahead of the Comic-Con, right? Like, you think they'd make a bigger deal about Hamaguchi being a part of a panel, of a show on stage, or a discussion, or whatever you want to call it, right? Like, it's kind of interesting that that's only been announced today. But it's not just Briana White, because there's a couple of the Square Enix social media guys kind of hyping up this event. In the past, that can tend to mean something. With Sunil Godhania, who is a social media director for Square Enix, quote tweeting this tweet saying, "Looking forward to this." He also replied to Hamaguchi's tweet that we read saying, "See you there." So one of the main social media dudes for Square Enix is going to be at the event as well. Also, back in 2023, when we were getting those cryptic messages daily that were pretty cool and exciting to talk about, the last one said we'd get more information soon. And Sunil had actually quote tweeted that with the eyeball emoji. And of course, later that day, we got a trailer at Summer Game Fest. We also had It's Just Ibs, who is a senior manager in influence relations for Square Enix, hyping up the event a bit, just saying who's coming. Would be great to say hi after the panel. I can't remember a specific instance where Ibs had hyped up an event or quote tweeted something about an event and there being a payoff to it. I just know it has happened in the past. And I know there's been other instances of it with Sunil, and I just can't remember those either. I just always remember the Summer Game Fest one. Now, obviously, I'm sure this isn't a 100% ratio thing where they're quote tweeting an event, they're excited about an event, they're attending an event, and there's not some sort of FF7 remake shit there or whatever. Right? I'm sure that's happened plenty of times, but I'm just saying there's a history of that happening to a certain degree. Point is, they're hyping up this random Comic-Con panel. It's a little bit interesting. It's it's kind of last minute announcement, if you want to call it that. The fucking director of the remake project is going to be a part of it. That's kind of interesting. Also, the fact that he's even a part of it at all, because he's the fucking director of the games, right? The main director, as you would call it, for the trilogy. Why is he stopping in the middle of making the third game to come do this random Comic-Con panel in London? It's a little interesting. Also, this Comic-Con and the day they're doing the panel on the 24th just happens to be the day before Tokyo Game Show, which that timing's a little bit strange too. I don't know what it means exactly. There is some precedent at times with the remake project for them to announce that they're going to talk about something. We just looked at that cryptic message from back in 2023, right? We're going to give you some information soon for Rebirth, and obviously that same day, boom, Summer Game Fest, we got a trailer, right? And then when it came to back in 2019 with the re-reveal of Remake, we actually got a trailer with that at the State of Play, but still they were we're going to talk about it more at E3, right? E3 2019. So they've done this before where they'll say that they're going to talk about it at a later point. Now, that said, with the first look at the trilogy games, that's always a surprise, at least historically, right? Back in 2015, the initial reveal of Remake was a surprise, right? And then when it came to the 25th anniversary live stream for FF7, we're expecting Remake Part 2 to be there, but it was never confirmed. Square Enix never said we're going to talk about Rebirth or whatever, or the second game. That was obviously a surprise there too. So all that is to say that I don't know that Hamaguchi would go to this Comic-Con panel and be we're going to talk about the third game tomorrow at Tokyo Game Show, or in the next couple days at Tokyo Game Show. I doubt that would happen. But is it possible that he could show a trailer at this panel? I don't know. It's a weird situation. I don't know. It's kind of weird that they're even doing this right now anyways. But even if like a trailer's off the table, he could maybe talk about Part 3. There could at least be something worth talking about from this event. Hopefully there is. It's cool to have like, you know, the director and some of the voice actors talk about the games, but also like, we've done that a lot. Especially if they're just talking about the first game. Like, I mean, come on. I know that maybe they're trying to hype up like the Nintendo and Xbox release of the first game. And I kind of get that, I guess. But like, my God. Remake is like, you know, it's 6 years old almost. It's an old ass game, dude. Like, we don't need to keep talking about the first game. We should be talking about Rebirth, if anything. And then maybe talking about the third game if you guys are ready to. Yeah, it's just like another event, another gaming event, if you want to call it that, to look forward to for the month of September. The month we've been kind of like deadlocked on for the last year or so, right? It's because of Toriyama's comments from last year. I know we just got an update from Nomura not too long ago that, you know, development's going well and they kind of know when they want to talk about, you know, Part 3 or whatever. So I don't know when that's going to be exactly, but we're still kind of hoping for September. Now we have this Comic-Con panel with the fucking director of the remake games. And then right after that is Tokyo Game Show. And then we also have the rumored PlayStation event. State of Play, PlayStation Showcase, whatever it might be. Potentially after Tokyo Game Show. That remains to be seen. We need an announcement on that. So we still got a couple of events coming up for all kinds of possibilities. And actually, if you want to look back at that recent message from Nomura about Part 3, where he said, it's going very smoothly, the announcement timing has been decided, and we'll stick to that schedule, so please rest assured and wait. To me, that's a little sort of reminiscent of that message we got for Rebirth back in 2023, right? The last message was from Nomura. He's saying that we're going to get information very soon, right? Both messages are quite vague, of course. The one for Rebirth back in 2023 was obviously a little more direct because it did say more information soon, gave us a sort of a time frame, if you want to call it that. And it was very soon because it was that same day, right? Now, the one we got recently for Part 3 doesn't really give us a time frame, but he does say, please wait. And I could see it being like a Nomura thing to say that and it be happening very soon, right? As in this panel, Tokyo Game Show, the PlayStation event, whatever. There is, of course, a bit of hopium and copium, but we got to get something somewhat soon, you would think. Like, goddamn, we're creeping up on the 2-year anniversary. Not too fucking far away from that for Rebirth. Like, we got to get something, you would think. Hopefully, goddamn soon. What are we doing? I think the main thing for me that sticks out as kind of weird from this Comic-Con panel they're doing is like the last minute announcement of Hamaguchi being there. Because I feel like in the past, every time we've seen him be announced for an event, it's usually quite a bit ahead of time, right? It's like a month, 2 months, 3 months, several months sometimes that, hey, Hamaguchi's going to attend this event, right? And the fact that it's literally a week to the day away from the panel that he's going to be a part of, and they're just now announcing it. It's kind of strange. You think they'd want to announce it sooner, you know, to get more people to buy tickets and things like that or whatever. So, like, it just feels like there's something interesting potentially from this event. We'll see. At the very least, maybe there'll be some interesting stuff to talk about from this panel. But also, if you're in the area, you can attend this. I've seen some people that were unsure of whether or not they're going to go to this, and now that Hamaguchi is going to be part of it, they do want to go. If you are able to ask Hamaguchi any questions, don't forget, we haven't mentioned this in a long time. Be sure and ask him, how big is Cloud's dick? That's more important than Part 3 stuff. Anyways, that's the video. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me on Twitter, @SaberYT. That's it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.